Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. A very good morning to all the viewers. I am Hiral Dadia. One space that is in focus is the electronics manufacturing space, and this is on the back of the government, which has gone ahead and imposed import restrictions on tablets, laptops, all-in-one PCs, and a small form of computers and servers. Now, clearly, companies will no longer be allowed to import respective devices without a license, and this is something which will actually go ahead and boost the domestic manufacturing as well, clearly giving an impetus to the Make in India dream that India wants to achieve overall. The import restrictions will be effective from the 1st of November 2023. Now, what this would actually mean for the manufacturers in India, joining us on the show to discuss more is Saurabh Gupta, CFO at Dixon Technologies. Saurabh, good morning and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning.
Saurabh, my first question coming to you is your initial comments on the restrictions that have been imposed. How long has the government taken to actually hear the ask of the industry?
Yeah, so basically, if you look at all the other categories, the government has imposed tariffs at various points of time to encourage domestic production. In this particular category, IT hardware product, it's an IT-A1 product, and you can't impose tariffs as per that. So government, came out with the non-tariff measures. I think so. It will go a long way in boosting the local production and eventually making India a global manufacturing hub in this particular category as well. It's a large market globally, and India also, it's a large market, and significant portion of that market is getting serviced through imports. So it's a big substitution play as well. So my sense is, it is a big landmark judgment by the government.
That's a landmark judgment, absolutely, Saurabh. Saurabh, overall, if you have to look at what the government has done, how are you seeing the benefits to start trickling in for a company like yours?
So I think so. It's a large opportunity. If you look at the overall market, it's around $9 billion, and clearly it's a growing market in India. And eventually, over the next few years, it will be a $13-14 billion market. So my sense is we are a large player and we are a beneficiary. And of course, we will now apply under revised IT hardware PLI scheme, and we'll be very aggressive in applying for that. So as of now, in our scheme of things, we are manufacturing for Acer. We expect that our volumes with Acer will go up, and we are also in discussion with large global brands. So clearly, we think that over the next 6 to 8 months, we will increase our capacities. There will be stabilization phase, ramp up phase, and by next financial year, we'll start to have meaningful revenues in this particular category.
So, sort of my key question is 17 facilities aggregating to 2.5 million square feet, if I'm not mistaken, is what the company has currently. What's the utilization level?
So as of now, the utilization levels across all our factories is almost closer to 100% because we are now just 2 to 3 to 4 months before the festive season. So we have a very strong order book in most of the verticals, except maybe one or two verticals where the utilization levels will be 80-85%. But broadly, the utilization levels are very good. And you're right, we are presently around 19 odd factories, 2.5 million square feet. We are adding some large infrastructure, and hopefully we'll be around 4.5 million square feet in the next 12 to 15 months. So clearly, we are sitting on a large opportunity, and this again, IT hardware along with mobiles will be the largest triggers for our growth.
Right. So, sort of from the total capacity that the company has, what percentage of it is dedicated towards laptops, tablets, all-in-one PCs, as well as the small form of computers and servers? How much of it is in terms of the company's business?
So as of now, it's a small business. Last year, we had a very small contribution coming in from this category. This year also, it will be marginally be growing because we will also take some time, 5 to 6 months, to put up those additional facilities, infrastructure, mobilize the resources. But my sense is next few years, it can be a large opportunity for us. And if you look at the 9 billion opportunity that I'm talking about, we will capture a large pie of that growth in India. And we think that over the next 2 3 years, India can attain a scale and size, and so is the case with Dixon. And we think potentially over the next 2 3 years there can be export opportunities as well.
So overall, the last thing that I was just reading in the earnings call is that in the first quarter of FY24, laptops, tablets, IT hardware products was around 86 crores in terms of the revenue contribution. As you already mentioned, Acer is the anchor customer for the segment. Now, you are in discussions with other large global brands as well from a manufacturing perspective. How much do you think will the company be able to scale up from this 86 crores per quarter if you have to look at the next, say, 18 to 24 months, either from a quarterly perspective or from a yearly perspective, taking the capacities that would be coming at play?
So those numbers have to be worked out. I think so over the next 4 to 6 months, we will work out those volume numbers, infrastructure, and we are in advanced discussions with some large brands. So we'll have that kind of visibility. But clearly, my sense is over the next 2 years time, this can be a three to 4,000 crore kind of an opportunity for us annually.
Okay. And
It's not.
right. And overall, from an infrastructure perspective, how are you looking to add that capacity, fund that capacity? What's the plan on that end?
Yeah, so we most likely will be adding some capacities in the northern part of India, and we're looking something in southern part of India as well. So clearly, that capacities will be ramped up or will get established over the next 5 to 6 months. And yeah, by next financial year or by Q4, we'll start delivering revenues with the new prospective customers.
Right. Sort of another aspect I want to consider over here is, when it comes to electronic part of the manufacturing, may it be hardware, computers, television, mobile phones, etc., a lot of your components are still imported, specifically from the Chinese markets as well, right? So when a Dixon is doing its production, what percentage of the components are imported and what percentage of the components are locally sourced?
Yeah, so one, I think so it differs from vertical to vertical. So in some verticals, like in lighting and washing machine, a significant part of validation is happening in India. Lighting, almost 50% validation happens in India. Washing machine, almost 60 to 65% of validation happens in India. But in some categories like mobiles, where it is presently, the validation in India is now around 20 odd percent, which was earlier a single digit. So clearly we have come a long way, and we think with the scale coming in and with the mobile PLI, a lot of capacities are coming for components in India. And we think over the next few years, this validation in mobiles can also go to potentially 30 to 32 odd percent. And similarly, a lot of localization is happening on the TV side as well. So still, yeah, I would say in some of the categories, still a lot of dependency on imports. But my sense is every year that is getting diluted, and a large component ecosystem is getting created. Of course, it takes time. So over the next 2 3 years, we'll have a very good, decent component ecosystem in India, like the way we have in China.
Right. So any plans from a backward integration perspective on this aspect, Saurabh, in the near future?
Yeah, so if you look at the PLI scheme, the way it has been structured is that apart from the final assembly, every year you have to localize certain components, and then only you get certain incentives from the government. So localization on PCBAs, on display, on battery, on power adapters. Maybe every year you have to do that. So that is mandatory. And once you tie up with some large brands, and clearly you have a scale and size, then gradually you have to get into the components. So for us now, lately, if you look at our last few years, our growth has been majorly into adding new verticals around IT hardware, variables, telecom. But now we are absolutely committed to get deep into the components. So every vertical we are looking at our capexes on backward integration capabilities, and so would be the case across mobiles, so would be the case across IT hardware products.
Right. And my last question coming to you, Saurabh, is the latest notification that did come in from the DGFT was that the import of electronics of all of these products will be allowed till 31st without a license, but post that, a license will be required, right? So if someone gets a license, how do the dynamics change? Because how difficult is it to get a license to import? Because anyone who's importing right now gets a license, then how does anything change for local from a localization perspective?
Now, so basically, the similar thing has been done in TVs couple of years back. They put TVs also under the restricted category, and clearly our understanding is that licenses, once it goes to a licensing kind of regime, see, the whole objective of the government and the whole policy decision or initiative taken by the government is to incentivize domestic manufacturing and also make India a manufacturing hub in this category. So my sense is once this intervening period of till 31st October goes, and that has been done majorly to meet the demand for the festive season, my sense is those licensing, once it goes to the licensing regime, those licenses are not easy to come by. So ultimate objective is for the government is to ensure that domestic manufacturing is taking place to service the domestic consumption.
Right. So I think that's something we should wait and watch as well as to how it impacts. But thank you so much, Saurabh, for joining us on the show and sharing the views. And this is going to be an interesting move going ahead for the manufacturers and a company like Dixon as well. Congratulations once again and good luck. And we'll speak to you soon again on how things develop going ahead.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you and stay safe. So that's the management of Dixon Technologies, clearly indicating that in the next 3 to 4 years, this category could become as big as almost 3 to 4,000 odd crores for the company itself. So good business that could be in the making for the brand. That's all that we have on this session. Thanks for watching and lots more lined up on the other side. Please stay tuned to BQ Prime.